What is up, everybody? Welcome back to part 4 of my John Ferrick Wrecking Crew book review, Demolishing the Case Against Steven Avery. You can pick this book up on Amazon. It is a great read. He goes into other things that you may not have heard before, things that were not included in the Making a Murderer documentary. He talks about other situations and other stories and cases he has written about in the past as well, and it is a great read. He goes over everything in much more detail than I do in these videos, so I highly recommend picking this book up. Wrecking Crew, tremendous read. Get it on Amazon. You guys absolutely crushed the shares, the likes, the views, and the comments on part 3 of this video, making it the most successful video I've done in a book review series so far. So thank you so much. I don't know if YouTube doesn't really give you the statistics on where people are sharing stuff. All it says is like Facebook or Twitter or whatever. So wherever you guys are sharing this, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. But here we go, part 4. John starts out talking about good old Andrew Colborn. 3 weeks before Teresa Halbach disappeared, he of course was questioned in Steven Avery's civil suit. Now remember, it's a civil suit from the 1985 case where he was falsely imprisoned for 18 years and was about to get awarded $36 million. John talks about the 1995 call where Andrew Colborn received information that Steven Avery wasn't the guy that committed the 1985 offense, and that Andrew Colborn did not do anything about it when he received that call. He essentially cost Steven Avery 8 more years of his life. 8 years of freedom. Steven Avery could have got out in 1995, but because Andrew Colborn did not do anything, he sat in prison for another 8 years and was not released until 2003. And one more thing, I apologize for my voice. I'm getting over a fairly bad cold, so if it sounds a little different, that's why. John then talks about the famous Sheriff Kenneth Peterson quote. Now remember, this guy was the person that was in charge of your safety, your children's safety. And this is a quote he said. It's been repeated everywhere, time and time again, but this is the guy that you entrusted, if you lived in that area, with the safety of your children. If we wanted to eliminate Steve, it would have been a whole lot easier to eliminate Steve than it would be to frame him. If we wanted him out of the picture, like in prison, or if we wanted him killed, this is the guy you entrust with the safety of your children at the time. If we wanted him killed, you know it would have been much easier to just have him killed. Again, this was the guy the people in that area were entrusting with their own safety, the safety of their children. And he's just talking about how it would be easier to kill somebody. Just wow. John then talks about the phone call Andrew Colborn made where it sounds like he's looking at Teresa Halbach's RAV4. I am of full belief, in my opinion, that he was indeed looking at this car when he made this phone call, when he called in the plates. Andrew Colborn, of course, states that he wasn't, but come on, he clearly, allegedly, was. He even states, oh, the 99 Toyota. And if it wasn't obvious before that, to me, that's what made it definite. He's clearly reading the plates off this car as if he is looking at it. John Ferrick talks about how Steven Avery was about to become really rich, and no one in Manitowoc County wanted that. Nobody in that area, in law enforcement or the higher ups in Manitowoc County, wanted somebody like Steven Avery to become filthy rich, to become richer than they were, to become one of, if not possibly, one of the richest people in the area. Nobody in law enforcement wanted that, and this was their way of allegedly stopping it from happening. Talks about how Andrew Colborn could have been made the fall guy for the civil suit because of what he did with that, or didn't do with that phone call information that he received. So he could have very well been made the phone call, the fall guy, but this was his way out of the situation, playing his part in the framing of Steven Avery, allegedly. John Farrick then talks about the gentleman that informed Andrew Colborn about the whereabouts of the RAV4 on November the 4th when he saw Andrew Colborn at the Cenex station. Andrew Colborn never made a report of this conversation. So if you're unfamiliar with this, there was a gentleman that saw Teresa Halbach's RAV4 parked off the side of the road. He went to a gas station, a Cenex station, and saw an officer there, and then he told the officer where he saw Teresa Halbach's RAV4. It wasn't until years later, when he watched Making a Murderer, that he realized that's the guy I told where Teresa Halbach's RAV4 was. That guy turned out to be Andrew Colborn. And of course, Kathleen Zellner, Steven Avery's lawyer, has used this over the years to try and get Steven Avery a new evidentiary hearing, a new hearing, anything to get his case back in front of a judge. And Andrew Colborn, of course, never made a report of this, and it was later that day that Andrew Colborn allegedly called in the plates of the RAV4. Come on, just wow. John Farrick talks about how Andrew Colborn could have been the one to remove the plates from the RAV4 after making the phone call from his personal cell phone. He was not using the police CB radio or whatever it is that they use in Manitowoc County. He was using his own personal cell phone to make this call. And after realizing the phone call was recorded, removing the plates was his way of proving he wasn't looking at the plates. Because, hey, look, the plates are gone. They weren't there. I couldn't have been looking at him. Now, things would have been much easier for Andrew Colborn if he had just used the police dispatch CB radio. But he was obviously not in the police car, or he would have used the police CB radio. He was on his own time, on his day off, using his own personal cell phone to make this call. And you can also hear, John Farrick talks about, you can also hear someone in the background, a third person on this recorded phone call saying, yep, that's her car. It's the voice says, yep, it's hers. What more do you need to know that he allegedly was looking at this RAV4 when he made this phone call? Just purely obvious, at least to me. Andrew Colborn was questioned about his whereabouts during the period of time Teresa Halbach was killed and his whereabouts the days after. He recalls everything he did to a T, pretty much, because he's followed a pretty regular routine, as most of us do. It's odd that the only day he doesn't remember anything was his day off, November the 4th. The day that the gentleman told him where the RAV4 is, and the day that he allegedly made the phone call calling in the plates of the RAV4. That is the only day he doesn't remember. Pretty convenient. Since the day before that, he was the first person on November the 3rd to talk to Steven Avery about what was going on in the Teresa Halbach situation. He remembers everything. And oh, by the way, he does not notice any cuts on Steven Avery's finger during that conversation. Because if he did, it would have been included in his police report. But states the day after, once again, he remembers nothing on November the 4th. John Farrick talks about how Steven Avery has said that Teresa Halbach came between 2 and 2:30 p.m., even though Andrew Colborn wrote it down as somewhere around 3 p.m. Steven Avery states he did not speak with her and that Teresa Halbach was only there for 5 to 10 minutes and she left. Now, That's where I'm going to end part 4. But part 5 gets juicy. If you thought part 4 was good, and I loved this part of John Ferrick's book where he's talking about everything that Andrew Colborn allegedly did, but part 5, the next part, talks about, Steven Avery talks about what happened after his conversation with Andrew Colborn. It goes into great detail about Steven Avery's conversation with Andrew Colborn, and I cannot wait to bring you this part. Whew. Now, once again, pick up John Ferrick's book. It's fantastic. Wrecking Crew, Demolishing the Case Against Steven Avery. Pick it up on Amazon. My Jerome Budig book review. It's actually, if you go to my Twitter, @NewScott, I think it's the last tweet there. His book, I'm in Canada. His book sold out in Canada. I have absolutely no idea if it has anything to do with me. I would like to think that it did, but I have a link up as to where else you can purchase his book. So go to my Twitter, @NewScott. It was amazing when I went to Amazon the other day and saw Jerry Budig's book sold out in Canada. You can get it other places, but I love that it's sold out in my home country, and I hope I had something to do with it. That'd be fantastic. This is really cool, right? So yeah, I'll be back soon with part 5 of John Ferrick's book. Things are picking up. Hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.